Hey everybody, and welcome back to the board meeting. Today I'm going to do another reviews and ratings episode where I review and rate all the different games I've been playing in the past 2 weeks with friends, family, and even solo. Today I've got 6 games, I believe, that I'm reviewing, and I'm going to give a quick overview of the game, give my personal thoughts on it, and give it a final rating, and then move on to the next game. We're going to start with my least favorite games and move my way on into my favorite games. So the first game is a very mass market type of game. This is Uno Flip. This is basically regular Uno. You're playing out cards, matching numbers, matching colors, but every once in a while there's a card that makes you flip your hand of cards, and it just switches the cards in your hand from to different numbers and different types of colors now, and you're just playing until there's some person doesn't have any cards in their hand. Basically regular Uno with a slight twist. I'm not a big fan of Uno. I mean, it gets a 4 rating for me, but my friend brings these types of mass market games. She likes them, and they are what they are. But yeah, it's going to get a 4 rating from me. Let's go on to the next game. The next game is The River. This is a Days of Wonder game that didn't really get much buzz and didn't really get much love. This is a very simple worker placement game where you're also placing out tiles along this river. And it's very, very simple. There's only a couple different spots. There's spots that you can take more tiles and put them on your river. And those spots are going to either get you more resources. Those tiles are going to let you get more resources or let you get more places that allow you to store more resources. The other places you can go is to go to specific resource spots like going to wood. And you take all the wood that is shown on your player board, actually. Then there's another spot where you can go and buy these cards that are going to get you points. And throughout the game, you're just getting more tiles, adding them. You'll get one more worker, and then you'll lose some workers as the more tiles that you put down on it. This is a very, very basic worker placement game. It's going to get a 5.5 rating from me. This game, the only way I can really describe it is extraordinarily ordinary. There is nothing on here that I per se hate, but there is nothing on here that makes it stand out from anything else. Nothing in here that just is fun and interesting to me. It's just the only reason I would break out this game for someone is to show them the base mechanics of a worker placement game, because this might actually be the simplest worker placement game I've ever played, possibly. 5.5 rating for myself. It is what it is. I don't think it's horrible, but the fact is I don't see myself breaking this game out anymore. It's just not. It doesn't have interesting things happening in it. So a 5.5 for The River, maybe my least favorite Days of Wonder game that I've ever actually played. Going to the next game is Jetpack Joyride, and I believe this is based on an app, is what I was told, or some kind of video game. I'm not sure, I have not played that. But in this game, you basically have 4 locations in front of you. It's like a map, and you are placing out these polyomino tiles that is available to people and trying to trek through these 4 locations and trying to avoid the hazards in it while also trying to get the coins. There's also like missions in it that you're going to get extra points for completing certain missions, like you want to travel alongside the bottom of the map for so long, so many spaces, stuff like that. I played the one-player game. The multiplayer game is more like a hectic sort of grabbing tiles, trying to finish it first, where the solo game you just have just a source of these polyomino shapes, and you're trying to make it through 3 different stages, basically. And the game is okay. I'm going to give it a 6 rating. It's nothing that I don't think this is going to be like very memorable for myself. It is fine how it is, but in a year or two, someone is going to say, talk about Jetpack Joyride. I'm like, I'm not sure if I've played that game, because it's just nothing in it that's that memorable to myself. Going on to the 4th game of this week. This is Santorini, New York. This is the sequel to a abstract game that I really like, Santorini. In this game, it turns the 2-player abstract game into a 2 to, I think it's 5-player game of this. And in this game, the goal is sort of similar to the first one, where you're moving and you're placing out buildings, and you're trying to reach the top of a building that's 3 high. There are multiple ways that you can win at this game, unlike in the original, but you are going to actually be simultaneously playing these cards. These cards are going to have some type of worker on them, which is going to give you a different way how you're going to interact with the board. You might be building 2 spaces this time, or you might be jumping farther than 1 space when you're moving. And they're also going to have numbers on them. The highest number gets the Statue of Liberty, which you can't win the game unless you have the Statue of Liberty. The lowest number is actually going to go first. So there's an interesting balance there of you want to go first to make the first move, but you can't win on that turn unless you go last, basically, and have the Statue of Liberty. So there's an interesting little twist to that. To me, I really like this game at 2 players. At 3, 4, or 5 players, it's not one that I'm going to want to play very often, because it turns like a strategic strategy game into more just a chaotic version of it. So I think it works really well as a 2-player game, and not so well at higher player counts. The more players, the more chaotic, the less strategic it feels to me, and just more random. I'm gonna give it a 7 rating, because at 2 players I like it a lot more. At 3, 4, 5, I'm not a big fan of it. But so it's going to get a 7 rating as a final score for me. Let's go on to the next game. The next game is a filler version of a game. This is Mysterium Park. It's a filler version, smaller version of Mysterium, that classic game. In this game, one player plays as the ghost, a dead person, and they're giving out these abstracted, beautiful looking cards to the other players, trying to point them at particular people and at particular locations. This plays very, very close to what Mysterium does, but it's a shorter, smaller version of it that takes quite a bit less time, actually. You can play this game I think we were playing games in about 15 minutes of this. And you can't talk if you're the ghost, so you're just giving out these clues. The cards are beautiful, like always. I think it looks like the same artist. I didn't really check on that, but it's those types of abstracted, beautiful looking cards. And this is going to get a 7 rating for me as well. I like this game, but I still like Mysterium better, the bigger version of it where you have the big screen, the player screen, in front of the ghost. It just feels more of a epic game to me than this one. But this accomplishes what it meant to do, making a smaller, faster version of Mysterium. So kudos for that. Going on to the last game of this week, this is a Kickstarter game that I just recently received a couple weeks ago. This is Rolling Heights. This is a John D. Clare game. This is a city building game, and the city building aspect, I won't talk too much about it, but it is very, very similar to all the other city building games out there. You're going to be building out a building, and then those buildings are going to be worth points, and a lot of them are going to be get points for buildings that are adjacent to it, whether it's parks or museums or skyscrapers or whatever they are. They're going to get points for different types of structures around those. There's nothing unique about that part of it. The unique part of this game is this meeple building aspect to it. You are going to be building it's like a deck building game, but you're meeple building, and you're going to be adding all these different meeples into your hand, basically. And there's a bunch of different colored meeples, and they're going to have different sort of abilities. You are going to roll these meeples actually into this box, and if they land on their side or land on their feet, you take them out, and they're going to activate their ability, basically. If they land on their feet, they get a better ability. If they land on their side, they get their just basic ability. If they land on their back, they get nothing. So you take out those ones, and then you have the chance to push your luck and roll the meeples again. If you don't roll any meeples on their side or on their feet, then you kind of bust, and you lose some of your resources that you've rolled previously from your meeples. The meeples are going to give you different things. A lot of them are going to be resources for the buildings that you're trying to build out, and other ones are just going to give you some sort of special ability. Some might give you just straight up points. Some might let you roll the meeples that you've busted with already, roll them again. Some might just give you different types of abilities. There's quite a few different types of meeples in this game, and that's what sets this game apart, is that meeple building aspect to it. It feels like Cubitos, which is another John D. Clare game, with how he was building your dice out, trying to be specific, getting certain dice to do things, but it combines that with a new the city building mechanism, and rolling the meeples is really interesting. I didn't think the meeple rolling was going to work, but it actually works really well. I wasn't I wasn't expecting it to work as good as it does, but it does work pretty well. And it's going to get a 7.5 rating. And it's just that the city building aspect of it is okay, but that meeple building and meeple rolling is such a unique, interesting thing. And John DeClaire is just getting really well known for having these unique mechanisms. I mean, he's made Space Base, Cubitos, Rolling Heights now, Mystic Vale, Eco's First Continent, which all have sort of these unique twists on old mechanisms. But yeah, 7.5 for Rolling Heights, a game that I have definitely enjoyed in the last couple weeks. That will complete this reviews and ratings episode. Make sure to comment down below on your thoughts on some of these games that I'm reviewing this week, whether you've played them, whether you haven't, if you agree with me, if you don't. Either way, if you did enjoy this video, make sure to like and subscribe to see more weekly content from me, Shane, at the board meeting in the future. Hope you all have an amazing day. Take care.